Hey guys, so it's here bringing you another video, and welcome back to Patch Note Breakdown. This is for 13.8, and this is the official patch to MSI, the Mid-Season Invitational. Also, just to make it clear though, there could be a couple tweaks from this patch. So if they release this and then 2 or 3 things are really broken because of it, they can micro patch it, and then that will be in effect from MSI. Just to very quickly say about the tournament, because there is a chance that I might be going. If I am going, I have been invited by Riot as a Riot guest. I don't think I'll be going for all 3 days. I might just go for 1 day, and I've not decided what day that will be. Maybe it'll be the Sunday if that's when all the finals are happening. But then I've been invited, I think the Saturday or the Friday. I don't know which way around it is. But one of the days I've also been invited to do like a dev talk with the lead developers of the game. So if I'm only going for 1 day, I'm going to go for the day that I can do the dev talk. I wouldn't be organizing any meet or greet or anything like that. If you see me, you can say hi, thumbs up, and I'll talk. But I'm a bit anxious about a big event. So I don't think I've got that confidence to like be really like, hey, I'm here. You know, hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, if I see you there, then cool. If I do go, I'm a bit 50-50 at the moment, if I'm completely honest. Anyway, a bit of a medium-sized patch, I will say. Nerfs, though, to Aurelion, Jarvan, Kayn, Malphite, and Rakan. Interesting, no Hecarim nerfs, but again, this, remember, is going to be one of the biggest pro-play-orientated patches in the whole year. We've kind of got MSI, and then obviously the Worlds patch are the 2 big ones. We got buffs to Ezreal, which I like, because I've started to play AD carry again, and Ezreal's probably my best AD carry. Garen, Janna, Kha'zix, Kog'Maw, Leona, Lilia, Nidalee, or Lidl, as Broxer calls her, and Poppy. We have Dawnbringer and Lightbringer skins, and Cosmic Drive, the only item getting any change. To April the 20th is when the new skins come out. But here we go. So, very little change to Aurelion, just to hopefully tone him down. And I would say this is actually a good direction to go. He's a hyper carry. I'm fine with him dealing a lot of damage. A lot of champions deal a lot of damage. But I think the problem with Aurelion is even by mid-game, he's incredibly tanky. And I think people have even worked out, you can kind of take him top lane. And people have been taking him top lane because he had good health growth and good armor growth. And he has a free farming lane. And you can't really stop him. So this little nerf is to just reduce his health growth and reduce his armor growth, both of those 2 big stats, more for top lane, really. That just scales him a bit down, as they say, back to earth. Yeah, I think this is probably the right direction. His kit is fundamentally strong. I think that is, the innate problem with making a really strong kit. He's either going to be in a state of pretty damn good, or they have to nerf his numbers to the ground, and then you can't play him. It's where Riot probably shouldn't make these absolutely insane kits, but they're really flashy and fun, so you can kind of get why they do. But yeah, that's a fine nerf. Ezreal, very small. Base AD increase is going to 62 from 60. Now, again, that wouldn't feel an amazing buff to a lot of people. I remember on Reddit a week or 2 ago, there was a guy going, hey, I'm new to the game. With the patches, 2 AD increase doesn't seem like it does anything. So what is going on? And I've always tried to explain it. It doesn't seem like everything. League of Legends as a video game, in how many factors there are, I'm actually going to say something probably crazy. It's actually quite balanced. And I know to a lot of people, they're like, well, are you feeling okay? When you actually put everything in perspective, it actually is quite a balanced game. If you take every single champion and you take them in their designed play style, so you put them in the role they're designed for, in the build that they're designed to do, realistically, the worst champions probably have about a 46% win rate, and the best champions have a 54% win rate. That's it. That's not absolutely terrible. Again, I know 54% win rate is good, but as I've always tried to explain, you take 100 games, that just means that champion, on average, is winning 54 out of 100 games. It's not 70%. They're not winning 70% of their games. 54% of games in every 100, they are winning. So they're losing 46. That's not crazy. So when League is actually a balanced game, these little changes is the small little tweaks that makes the difference. That's the point. And they don't want to go, hey, Ezreal, have 10 more base AD, and then poof, he actually gets insanely crazy strong, right? It's little changes. So this will help him in early game. It'll help him last it a little better, a little bit more poke, but nothing over the top. I think that's fine. I myself obviously play Ezreal. I've done some really good games with him recently, and I think some games upcoming potentially. And you know, it does show he's playable. He's just not, I would say, as free or easy in that way that other AD carries can be, because he has like the extra element of having to skill shot aim like a complete mage, basically. So yeah, fair enough. Garen, champion that I will say was really strong for quite a long time, and now has kind of not had the limelight. I'm okay with that. I've always said when a champion has got popularity, I'm also completely fine with a champion not having popularity for a while. And Garen did have it and now hasn't for a while. So they're just giving him a little buff. Base AD increase, base armor increase. So just again, little base stuff that won't affect his scaling. They just help him in the early game, and that's maybe where he's been lacking a bit. So fair enough. Janna, I will say I laned with a Janna today, and it was quite a sad experience. They offered nothing in lane. Maybe it was more the player than the champion, but I also think the champion is a bit lacking at the moment. I know Q build is more the thing that people go, so maybe this change will make people go back to the W build, because that's what used to Jannas do. Magic damage of it is going up base by 10 each rank, and the bigger thing, the ability power ratio, is going up 10%. That might make people go W max again, to be fair. And W max is all about pressure, harassment, poke. That's what it's for. And I think that's where, unfortunately, Janna's has missed a bit. And then the E, Eye of the Storm, the shielded decay timer is going up to 2.5 seconds, thus giving, I guess, the shield longer. So they have a bigger window of taking the trade rather than a short window of taking a trade. So they're just little nice buffs for Janna, but not going to do absolutely insane work, let's be fair. Very popular champion, obviously, Jarvan. AD growth decreased, Q damage decreased, so just nerfs across the board. Obviously has been in that position of strength for a few patches. And what I would say is tomorrow's second video, I've got a Q&A coming out. I haven't done a Q&A in forever. Little spoiler to one of the questions there, but someone said, like, what is my biggest individual like problem with League at the moment? And I did say my biggest problem right now is the feeling that some champions have immunity to being nerfed and some champions instantly get nerfed. Like, Jarvan's been very strong for a few patches, but he was garbage before that. He was garbage for a few years, realistically. He's been terrible, but he's now got some strength, and bam, he's getting slapped down. There does feel like there's a group of champions, and I think we all know quite a few of those champions that are in that group. They just don't get nerfed. And I think that is probably my biggest thing. So Jarvan, I do think he deserves nerfs, by the way. I'm not saying he doesn't. I just wish they were... I don't want to use the word biased or unbiased, but I just wish every champion was treated the same, if that makes sense. Or at least it doesn't feel that way. And if I do go to MSI and have a discussion with the lead devs, that would potentially be the topic that I would talk about, is do they feel there is a bias towards some champions that they can remain strong for a year or two versus champions that get strength, you've buffed them, cool, but then they get nerfed instantly. I know to a lot of people, you know, I would say Katarina is probably in that group for me, and I need to watch it because people keep quoting Freak. Obviously, he's part of the balance team now. Apparently, when Katarina was brought up to him, he basically said, we need to keep Katarina's options open and her win rate high because Katarina players play nothing else. So we need to give them satisfaction with their one champion that they play. That to me is the weirdest and most wrong way to go with balance. But apparently that is what they said. So that it makes sense if that's their ethos of why Katarina can build anything and still do great, still is crazy in solo queue. But yeah, I don't know. That's weird. I'll have to, if someone knows what video that was in from Freak or stream, can you let me know? Because I potentially want to see that myself. But anyway, Jarvan's just getting some base damage. Still, the scaling's fine. but the damage is going down. Just reminding everybody, the reason why Jarvan made a comeback, it was his W shield. His W shield now scales off AD, so it allowed him to build full AD, but then be kind of tanky with building full AD, thus having a lot of damage, but still being tanky. So they're not affecting his W though, which is good. Kayn, E, Shadow Assassin bonus move speed decrease and cooldown increase. So Shadow Assassin Kayn stands above many junglers in terms of win rate and ban rate, especially in the eastern regions. We're trimming the uptime of his Shadow Step to make him a little easier to punish. Yeah, when it especially a blue Kayn gets going, you know, both Kayns I'd say have their problems, but when a blue Kayn gets going, he can just stay in a wall and just one-shot you from a wall, go back into the wall, and you're like, well, cool, I guess that's fun. So the movement speed is going down to 70%, 10% nerf, and the cooldown of it is going up 2 seconds. Hopefully that does mean then he can't just live in a wall, one-shot you, and then just jump back into it, pretty much. He probably can, let's be honest, but yeah. Kha'Zix, base damage of Q is going up. Oh, wow, okay. So, yeah, the funny thing that I would say about Kha'Zix is obviously he's quite an old champion now. He probably doesn't feel it to some. There's no point playing Kha'Zix when Kayn exists. And that, unfortunately, is sometimes a problem. Newer champions, and Kayn isn't even really new, but newer champions replace older champions that do the same job, you know? And the thing with Kayn, which is better than Kha'Zix, is they both have good assassin potential, but Kayn has so much more mobility. But then if the game isn't going good in the early stages, even in modern Kayn, you could just go, actually, I'll go red Kayn this game. And, you know, I know they've got technically different rune setups, but I've seen blue Kayns with Conqueror. I've seen red Kayns with Electrocute. Like, it doesn't seem to matter that much anymore. They have that option. Kha'Zix doesn't have that option, you know? No real big assassins have that absolute option of, I actually can just go become a bruiser because the game's not going well. And it's good. But yeah. So base damage is going up by 10 each rank. Little bit of help, but nothing major. That's fine. You don't want that to go out of control. Kog'Maw. I did play that game of Kog'Maw, and I felt actually quite strong, is what I would say. But he is for a pretty much standard point and click auto attack AD carry. He's probably on the harder end of the standard auto attacking AD carries. Because he is so immobile. So passive true damage increase. Kog'Maw now ghosted while in passive. That's a good change. Q cooldown decreased. And E mana cost decrease, slow increase. So the big thing is, really, yeah, the true damage is going up of the explosion. But now he's ghosted. So what does that mean? He can run through minions. So before, if you killed a Kog'Maw, you ran around minions. He could get minion trapped in his passive and not manage to blow you up. Now he'll just run straight through the minions, which I think is actually fine. I think that's a modern change, and it's good. Q is going down by 1 second. Obviously, that gets rid of the resistances. And then the E, not realistically an AD carry change here. This probably helps Mage Kog'Maw more. Early mana cost has gone down, and the slow has gone, well, it's neutralized. It's better early, a little bit worse late, but that's overall probably a good thing. So nothing major. There's nothing absolutely about his AD carry nature. There's nothing about that. But as I said when I played him, he actually didn't feel that weak. He just needs a team around him, and he can excel quite easily. Leona. Yeah, Leonas have been in a rough spot for a while. So yeah, I don't know. Like, Leona was good for a while, years ago, but there's nothing quite like a Leona engage can be quite easily dodged out, where a Nautilus can just press R on somebody and they're getting engaged on. You know, that's the difference. So what are they doing? They're making her tankier. So when she puts a W on, she's getting more bonus armor by base. She's getting more magic resist, and she's then going to deal more damage when it eventually goes kapah. I don't think that's the answer, and the problem is I think it's not really unless they make her stats absolutely broken, you literally cannot kill a Leona. I honestly think it's more the accessibility of her engage is just harder to pull off over the other options. I think that's her problem. I think she's tanky. She might even be tankier than Nautilus and stuff like that already, but it's the ease of engage that Leona lacks nowadays, when every champion has got mobility or AD carries can build Gale Force. You know, Gale Force is such a huge counter to Leona. It's not as big of a counter to Nautilus, because if he gets the R on the AD carry, it is going to hit them. If she goes R from a distance, they can even just, they don't even have to flash. They can just Gale Force out the way. So that, I would say that item really hurt Leona more than anything. But, you know, a little bit of tankiness, a little bit more damage isn't going to hurt her. But I don't really see this as a, hey, Leona's back. I see this as, if you're a Leona player, hey, you got a bit of love. There you go. Lilia. Oh, this champion. Passive damage to monsters increased, healing against monsters increased, and healing against champions adjusted. This champion, I will say, has her issues. And obviously they made her into a melee champion. And this champion, because they made her into melee, instantly the demonic conqueror build popped up, and she's not really supposed to do that, but that obviously build has been, and I would say it's finally starting to fizzle out, that build. But do we all remember at the beginning of the season when it was an Udyr, a Mumu, Maokai, or Lilia, or Diana, every single game building basically full tank with a demonic and conqueror not dying and just murdering you? It happened quite a lot. So hopefully this is more of a buff to just AP Lilia, not the more tank bruisery side of it. And they are saying, in an effort to create a more diverse champion picks in MSI, we're buffing a few reliant AP junglers in order to bring different types of stuff. I think that's noble. I'm not sure pure AP Lilia will make it a come to pro play, but it might. You never know. If some jungler is really akin to Lilia, they might. So the damage to monsters is going up, so this obviously helps towards jungle clear. Healing, she's getting more healing. Well, actually, it's kind of being leveled out. So her maximum healing is nowhere near what it used to be, but her minimum healing is going up by a lot. So her early game will be better. And then her champion healing is going down. But she's having... Oh, but both of them, they're getting better scaling. Right, okay. So in late game, this is probably a buff completely. Just more healing. Okay, interesting. Malphite. Everyone, even in my Twitch chat, is like, Huz, Malphite's OP. He's really OP. I've seen it a little bit. Like, it's that kind of classic strong tank problem at the moment, that tanks are very strong but deal way too much damage. You know, Malphite is probably in that group. Sion is in that group. Ornn is probably still even in that group. They deal a lot of damage when they basically build no damage items. Like, hell, the only thing I would say in that group of champions, Sion at least builds normally a Titanic Hydra, you know? Malphite doesn't, I don't think, but he deals damage. So the W empowered attack damage is going down considerably, actually. So it stays at 30, but then nerfs from then on. Where it used to be 90 attack damage, it's now 70. So that's quite a bit less. And then the cleave physical damage of W is doing less through his armor. So it used to do plus 20% armor as well. It's now 15. So that's going to be doing considerably a lot less damage. And yeah, people have been maxing it first, by the way. If you're in a proper melee versus melee matchup and he could just slap the living out of you, and yeah, they'd max W, and that's what they do. So they're just toning that down. Nidalee. Nidalee gains around 6% win rate as MMR rises and its balance around elite players. Yeah, as it, and this is the thing, as it should be. Nidalee is a really hard champion who's also crazy early game aggressive, doesn't really scale anymore. So you need to get a really good lead in the early game when she's actually quite a hard champion to play. Got an incredible long skill shot that's quite slow in modern terms. Then has a whole transform mechanic, that what form is the right one to be at any given time. And she's high risk because she's really squishy. I'm fine with Nidalee being rubbish in most ratings of the game, apart from basically elite. I don't know if the player base is. I don't know if Riot is. I'm perfectly fine with that. I've always been fine with different champions having strength levels at different ratings, because I think that's actually healthy for the game. But, so the base armor's going up, so that helps her in the early game, and the armor growth is going up, so she's a bit tankier throughout the game. That's not bad. because again, that gives you a bit more durability even in the jungle clearing phase. So again, that's not bad, but it's doing nothing to her damage or scaling or anything. So it's probably not going to do that much. Q, Poppy damage increase, W bonus resistance increase. I'm going to be honest, without sounding bad, I bet they're doing this because, and I'm not saying this as a negative, the Asian communities love damage Poppy jungle. When Poppy jungle was a more popular thing, and you know, we'd occasionally see it here on the US, or we'd occasionally see it on NA, it was the #1 pick in Korea. Like, it was the #1 solo queue pick in jungle, was Poppy jungle with Dark Harvest, Divine Rush. That's what they loved. I'm not surprised they're buffing it, because MSI is coming, and she's a really funny pick when you just see Poppy, like, charging at someone, one-shotting somebody, and, like, boof. It's funny. So, they're buffing it, and in both damage and bonus tankiness and resistances with W. I'm not surprised, because then, hey, she's probably going to get play in Pro, play in MSI. Doesn't surprise me at all. Rakan, last champion. Base armor going down and armor growth going down. So yeah, a bit too tanky has a Rakan been. Obviously, they also changed this champion to melee in this season from ranged. And he's really good. Like, he's got everything practically a support wants. He's got engage, he's got disengage, he's got protection, he's got healing, he's got good CC, and he's got, I would even say, skill expression. You know, he's not, no offense, but a Soraka that's just pressing W on things. He has to do quite a lot to make things work. He does work himself. When you see a good Rakan doing something, you're like, ooh, that was pretty damn good what that Rakan just did. So, I don't know, like, I think he's a really good pick, and I like that they're not overly nerfing him, because I actually think he's a really nice champion to see in games. But yeah, he's probably a bit too tanky for the risk level that I would say at the moment. But yeah, there's that. Items, Cosmic Drive. Ooh, I'll have to read this, because I build this, obviously, occasionally. Ability power is going up to 100, and a new unique passive called Spell Dance. Damaging a champion, excluding damage over time, so doesn't count for dots. Generates a stack of 2.5 movement speed every 1.5 seconds for the next 5 seconds, up to 4 stacks of 10% movement speed. At 4 stacks, gain an additional 10% movement speed, 20 movement speed, 20% movement speed total. Dealing damage refreshes this effect. Whoa. Wow, okay. That's going to be, whoa, cool. What champions would I build that I actively play? I mean, Aurelion comes to mind, but I don't really play Aurelion. Even Veigar could be good for this, but it'd be hard. What's the cooldown of it? How long do you have? You then need to only hit 5 seconds. Okay, so every 5 seconds, if you can maintain doing damage on somebody, and then thereafter you need to just do one bit of damage to one bit of damage will then maintain your 4 stacks moving forward. I think Veigar could be good for that, and then Veigar being really fast is never a bad thing. Other champions, let me know what other champions you think could be good for that. Kassadin maybe as well. Clash will be looking to play Clash, by the way. I will say the only thing... Oh, what's this? Oh, for Ramadan, these 2 servers, they're having it earlier for those servers. Is it something to do, because like if you're in Ramadan you can't eat in the day, so they're letting people play Clash earlier so then they can go eat after? I don't know how it works. But yeah, we got games will begin 4 to 7 local time. My only complaint with Clash, obviously I'm in tier 1. I do kind of wish they brought forward the time. It's a bit annoying that it's 7 p.m. 7:15 p.m. is when tier 1 Clash starts here in the UK and like EU West. It's a bit late. Like, I don't know. It's a weekend. I'd like to be playing Clash like in middle of the day. I don't know, personally. Behavioral systems reporting is now available in match history. Whoa. You can report another player by right-clicking. Wow. I bet that, wow. If you're toxic, you probably don't like that, because so many people will have a toxic person and they'll just get out of the game thinking, let me out the game. And then they'll kind of go, I forgot to report that guy. You can now go and it literally... I forgot to report that guy. Hang on, I'll go in match history and report him there. That's kind of interesting. There's challenges, whatever. New mythic stuff, bug fixes, and upcoming skins. Well, there you go. Honestly, for a pro-orientated patch, I'm actually surprised of how little the changes have been. Yeah, it's been actually quite a micro patch, very small changes overall. Interesting. Let me know what you think, though. If you think there's anything missing, or do you not agree with something, let me know. If you guys did enjoy the video, though, I will get this out as today's second video. So if you appreciate the effort, please do like it. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime.